Hello there.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Absolutely love having our next guest on. He's Senator Rob Kupec. He's going to give us the inside skinny. Maybe you heard some stuff's going on here in Minnesota today. Senator, thanks for being here.
Yeah, I don't know that I have the inside skinny.
Well, so folks I'm putting you in a bad spot, and next week we get you on. It'll be easier because we'll know what we're talking about. But as we tape the show today, we know that the governor, as I understand it, at like 10 o'clock is meeting with his staff and campaign team. They're going to have a meeting. Then at 11 o'clock, he's having a meeting with the rest of the world, a news conference. So it's speculation what I'm going to be asking you about, and I'm not trying to lock you into anything or put you in the trip spot, but that's where we're at, and we have to talk about it. Your speculation, is he just, there's three options here. He comes out and he just rips Donald another one. The whole Venezuela thing coming after us for fraud, he just goes at him again. That's one. Two, he could come out and say, and this is what I predict is going to happen. I lead the witness. He's going to come out and say, for me to fight the fraud that's been exposed, I have to do this 100% of my time. I don't have time to run for re-election, so I'm just going to finish my term, and I'm going to fight fraud, which I think that's his go. And third could be he says, I'm out. I'm going to resign. This has gotten out of hand. Which one do you think it is, Rob? Senator, sorry.
It's not three. I don't think it's
okay.
resign. So I'll take that one off the table. Yeah, I mean, it's I can't believe that it would be one, because I think the media would be like a little upset. Like if you like, I'm gonna have this, and then it just turns into
the sharks are circling the water right now, and if no chum gets thrown in, that would you're probably right.
I believe me, I have no inside information on this. I woke up and saw my message in the Star Tribune email this morning. I'm like, oh, well, this could become an interesting day for me. I wasn't planning on doing much this afternoon, but that might not change for me.
Well, tell us how give us the inside skinny, and maybe you don't play hardball politics like they do down at the Capitol. But if it's number two, which we think, he's going to say, I'm not going to run for my third term, close his campaign up. Everyone in the top down up to legislators all had to wait to decide if they're going to run for governor. And if they were going to run for governor, the whole placemat of your team did not happen until very, very late. Governor comes in and says, yeah, I'll go for a third term. Does that reshuffle this deck? Are those that are committed for each of these jobs committed to it? Or are they just saying, I would have taken that, but I really wanted the governorship, and they pull out? How does this reshuffle the cards, sir?
Yeah, I think it could reshuffle the cards. I think.
Doesn't that tick you off? Doesn't that tick you off if someone said, I want to be your senator. I've been running for 8 months as your senator. You've given money to me. Thank you very much. Oh, but the governorship's open? Okay, never mind. You know what I'm saying? It's a little I get it, but it's a little disingenuous.
Right. I think there were people that clearly, I think they waited maybe to make those other announcements till they were waiting on Walz, and then he, and then they're like, well, look, I got to do. So I have to,
I'm not done
somewhere, and I'm gonna, I have a desire to serve in a higher capacity, and I have to put that. I'm gonna go.
Well, let's bust this.
It'll be interesting to see what the shuffle is, and I don't. Will we turn into the clown car of everybody running for governor too on our side? I don't know. I'm not running for governor. I will just make that.
Oh, you could have made that announcement this morning. That would have been huge. We'd have wiped him right off the press and the paper. Okay. Here, I don't know that it becomes the clown car thing like we've got. I mean, let's be honest. The other side, I think we're up to 14.
There's somebody else announcing today, and I thought, wow, you drew the short straw, because you're going to announce today, and nobody's going to cover that at all with whatever Walz is saying. 11.
But 14, 15 people, the weird thing about that is you go to the caucus night, we get into it, you can win like 7%. I mean, whatever the math is, you can get the nomination with nothing. So that's going to change our side, but we'll talk about that as we go. Let me ask you this. Let's bust this down a little bit. Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, I think she seriously wanted to be governor, right? She wanted Walz to be vice president, and she was going to take the governorship. She waited. He became back, and they weren't getting. There's rumors she wasn't getting along so well with the governor, so she goes for this Senate seat. Is she the front runner to say, well, wait, I'm lieutenant governor. I'm next in line. I will pull back from the Senate. And is she the number one, do you think, in the lineup? Is that fair?
Know. I'm not, and I don't, I
all hypothetical. I'll give you the out.
Flanagan that well.
Okay.
I don't know. And my impression from 4 hours away from the Capitol was that I think she had, I think she had always had her sights set on running for senator.
You did? Okay.
I do. Okay. That was my impression. I could be wrong in that, but that was the impression I had. I think she was, I think she wants to go. My impression was she wanted to go on that stage. If she turned around and ran for governor next, it would surprise me. No, but I think that was the stage she wanted to be on. So
let me ask you this: it's a quick sidebar because the governor having to get out because of all the fraud stuff, or we'll find out. I'd love it if that's what he's doing, but presumably, how come Lieutenant Governor Flanagan doesn't seem to be getting much dirt on her shoes in all of this? I presume she was at the meetings. She was going to be the governor if he won the vice presidentship. Has she got, again, I don't put you in such a bad spot. I'm so sorry, sir. I will say that I believe she's gotten by relatively scot-free on this because we haven't heard anything about she was in that meeting or whatever. Maybe we will.
All right. So I'll put on my little politics hat here. I'll throw
Please.
this. Let me.
You have a right. You were in such a bad spot, sir, and I don't mean to do this to you.
This is a theory. I'll throw this theory out there. If I was the other side, I would think that the person, I don't know. I think I might be more afraid that Angie Craig would get the nomination and be the candidate. And I think if you were to unload scandal and all of those things upon Lieutenant Governor Flanagan right now, you would only be aiding and abetting probably maybe the tougher candidate. And so
you are so smart at this. Thank you, Senator. That is a brilliant analysis. I think you're right. The right really would rather have Peggy Flanagan because then the commercials write themselves. You don't have to go against Andy Craig. I don't doubt that. Let me throw it in the other way. For the governorship, if my side were making the game plan and we're thinking what's going on here, this is the one that I think. Senator Klobuchar says, I want it. Senator Klobuchar comes and says, I'm running for governor. Then she wipes everybody off the board, right? On Amy. Everybody loves the woman on every side, right? So she gets the governorship. My side then should be very concerned that the governor has to then nominate who's going to fill that Senate seat, and you watch it be Walz. That's the chess game. See what I just did there?
Wow,
Give her.
I mean, that has
Smirky all over it.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Who was it who did that in the? Why am I drawing a blank in the 70s? Who did that and appointed himself? It was
because we were young then.
Portraits right outside the thing.
Yeah, I don't. But they do that, and the world will be very upset. But everybody kind of replaces. This is where I told Republicans, watch what you wish for. A bunch of them called for the resignation or whatever, and I don't think he resigns either. But he pulls him out. You don't have the 107-day, the Biden move, right? 107 days to make something work. This literally is, I think we're 300 days away, 300-something days away. There's time for one of those other candidates to walk in and set up a campaign.
Yes.
Now you're in Minnesota.
And I don't know, Walz has a lot of money. He does have a lot of money in his campaign war chest that could also, be used to help some other candidate too. So there's certainly a lot of money. Yeah, it'll be, and I don't know. And I know everybody talks about Senator Klobuchar, and I could see where I would not want to be in Washington D.C. anymore. Where it's just you get nothing done, and you could come back and at a state level you can get some things done. So but on the other hand, she's very close now to leadership within the
Senate.
The Senate. Do you want to be there for that? I don't know.
But other than Senator Kupec's approval ratings, she's got to be the highest approval rating there is as far as the Democrat goes in Minnesota, right? Name recognition, approval ratings. I got to think she's at the top of that list.
I think so. I think, and I think every time somebody runs for president, and I think this was the thing Walz had to think about, even on the vice president ticket, that, you don't do quite as well when you have to go out there and play a little bit more partisan politics in that office. And I think she's been, she's well liked by a lot of people. And, spend a little time with her in a room and watch her talk to just everyday Minnesotans. And you go, oh, yeah, I see that. I see why. You're relatable.
I'm just going to throw a couple of names at you showing up now as possibilities. We talked Klobuchar. Congressman Dean Phillips. He leans, even your side was a little mad at him because he started leaning a little bit too far right with the whole Trump thing. Could he be the guy that could do it? And my point being is even some right-wing Americans, Minnesotans could say, all right, middle of the road guy.
I will tell you that I was one of those people when Dean Phillips, not that I wanted President Dean Phillips, but when he came out, he was the only one who came out and said it should not be Biden. And I said, you know what? Dean Phillips has a point. But I think within the Democratic Party, there's a lot of people that are angry at him.
Okay.
I don't know Dean Phillips at all, but
I've met Representative Kelly Morrison. I don't know her real well. She's on that list. Is she somebody that would trip your trigger?
I served with Representative Morrison for 2 years in the Senate. I really like Kelly Morrison.
Okay.
I don't know that she'd be interested in doing that. I think she's just kind of finding her way in DC. I don't know. She's a super smart person. So
how about Senate Majority Leader Aaron Murphy?
Certainly, Aaron Murphy ran for governor before. Remember, that's who Tim Walz took out in I have not talked with her at all. It's not.
I'm just getting your gut feeling here. I know I'm putting you in a terrible spot, Senator. I'm not trying to. This was not the news until this morning.
The old adage is that everybody who sits in my job looks over at the guy who's upstairs and goes, "I could do that job."
Yeah,
they all do, and so
that's so funny.
I don't know. I know she's been such a good majority leader the last 2 years. I love her in that job. So
and then the last one is just Senator Nick Frentz, who's in the list, and I didn't write the list, and he comes on the show on a regular. We like Senator Frentz on this program. 2 guys from Mankato. Can you get them back to back?
I don't know what the question would be, but Senator Frentz certainly also smart guy, and he is absolutely charming when he is whoever he's talking to.
So I would love having him in this program. You
can't walk out of a room after meeting with Senator Frentz and go, I don't like that guy. You just go, I may not agree with him on that, but gosh, I like him. So he has a lot of positive qualities too.
But you are not announcing today that you're going to wait a week, at least 10 days, something like that.
Sure, if I do it, it'll be on your show.
You're the best, Senator. Senator Kupec on the Al Travis Show. We'll be back right after this. There's a lot going on. We'll talk about it.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
You need a friend at the Capitol who knows how to get things done.
And you're in luck, because that's exactly who we are, your friends at the Capitol, and we deliver results.
At Momentum Advocacy, we bring decades of experience in lobbying, public affairs, and crisis communications.
From local nonprofits to national corporations, we help you move policy, manage your media, and make your voice heard.
We're not just seasoned pros, we're essential partners.
Momentum Advocacy, your friends at the Capitol. Learn more at momentum-advocacy.com.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
I got to be honest. I'm so sorry, and my apologies to Senator Rod Kupec for having to do this. Literally, as I'm out on vacation, and you see the story that Trump invades Venezuela, I'm like, we don't do a lot of national stuff, but I think Rob's going to crush him on, and we're not even going to talk about it. There's so much going on here. I'm sorry. My point is, I put you in that spot to do all this dissecting. I had no idea this was going on until it happened, this morning. So I thank you for playing along. The one that I also was on vacation, I didn't pay a lot of attention to the news, but I did see that on the first day of Minnesota's paid family leave, which January 1, by the way, 12,000 human beings applied. Okay, that means there's a need, and maybe that proves your point. I'm going to leave it up to you. My problem with it is, as I understand it, the program was set up for about 130,000. That was our guesstimate for the year. Now, it's not quite, but it's almost 10% signed up the first day. How nervous does that make you that we might have underestimated this by a lot? Where's 364 more days to sign up?
Right. Well, we knew that the first day would be higher because
you took account last year's births and stuff. I get that.
Last year's births, people with, things that started last year or are coming up, we knew that the beginning would be higher. I will say, I think of and it's, funny to talk about this now, but of the departments that I look at, my dealings with as a state senator, Deed is one of the best run departments. So it really makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
And this runs through the Deed.
That Deed is running this. They've run it. It runs a lot like unemployment insurance. They've run that well for years. The commissioner of Deed does a really good job. He, to me, is one of the best commissioners we have. I'd put the ag commissioner up.
So is this straight Minnesota money then? This has nothing to do with the feds?
This has nothing to do with the feds. Yeah,
okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
So there's we don't need any, feds. And what we did too is like when Washington rolled it out, they implemented, the insurance kind of fee, tax, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then they collected the money before they started the program. We set aside some money so that it was up and ready to go.
Is there we haven't seen much, obviously, this first couple of days. Is there a chance you guys get back in February and you take a look at it? I'm going to throw out my own complaints. I have to pay in the 88% of 1% or whatever, I have to pay that in. But as a sole business owner, I can never take it. If I took 12 weeks of paid family leave, this show doesn't exist. It literally is me taxed for something I can't participate in. Is there something you'll look at guys like that, us?
And I'm not, as a sole proprietor, I think it's optional for you, though. If you're just on your own, you can do it. So that something happened to you, you could still have some income coming in. But I think you can.
But then the show's done.
What?
But then the entire show is done. You know what I'm saying? If I took 12 weeks off, I'm not coming back. How long can I do that?
But you never know. Something terrible could happen to you. And
let's not hope. I don't want to be an example of all that.
I'm not saying, but weird, stuff just happens. You don't know.
That's fair enough.
So, I look at.
Can I take time off to take
heart attack and was gone for?
Can I take care of myself if I have the heart attack? I'm out making sure I'm okay and take care of myself and the pet. I gotta fly. I'm joking. I'm sorry for this, sir. Thank you for being such a good sport. I had no clue this day was going to go like this.
Either did
I appreciate you.
We'll see what happens later this morning.
Appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk about it next week. He's Senator Rob Kupec.